Welcome to the Monday edition of our Sales Dojo here at Medicare Gurus in Cedar Park, Texas. Walk on by. And hi, Victoria. You're fine. You're fine. If you are new to this platform, what we do every day, 12 o'clock Central Standard Time, is we gather with agents who are in the middle of sales or finishing their sales, and we discuss how their day is going. We just have lively conversations about the sales process, and we just, want to have, genuine conversations about what's going on in our daily lives regarding our sales and Medicare in general. So I thought today I'd start with a quote I saw over the weekend. We'd start talking about how I feel about this quote, but it comes from Warren Buffett. I think he's a successful business entrepreneur, up and coming, could be.
Yeah, he's
fairly
new to the game.
Okay, I haven't heard of him.
Yeah.
He had this good quote though. He said, "Price is what you pay, value is what you get." And I thought a lot about that as we were having our AEP, our wonderful AEP conversation, talking about price versus value. And I wanted to bring that up today because we're, as you guys are having your sales, you're talking about the different products, and price is always going to come up first. But I wanted to ask, I'll start with you, Penny. When this separation starts to come between price versus value, you can give an example about a particular product or an experience, but how do you separate the two? And a second part to that is, how do you lean in toward the value of what you're trying to sell?
Well, let's see. Well, firstly, I think when people, at least that are new to Medicare and are just getting their eyes open for the first time, it's a lot of information to go through and go over. But I think once you explain to them how Medicare works and that it actually could stop working for you, because I don't think most people think they have it forever and ever, which hopefully, but I guess it depends on how fast you use up those benefits. At some point you could run out of benefits. And then once they understand how Medicare works, and I mean, I guess that is really leaning into it, because the value is that while you may pay for a supplement, you may pay a monthly fee, which is, a lot of people are like, oh, we'll get the one that's zero, or whatever. But while you pay a monthly fee for a supplement, the value is so much greater in how it may help them in the future and pay as things come up in their health in the future. Yeah. A lot of people are still healthy when they start on Medicare, and that's something to be discussed too. As we get older, in the future, our health won't be that good, and we need those supplements more and more, versus what you get with a MAPD Advantage plan of some sort. Not the same thing at all.
Right.
It does at least limit your out of pocket some,
right.
And that can be helpful. But as far as the value, the supplements, I think, are so much greater value in what could potentially happen to your health in the future.
Right.
So I guess the whole conversation kind of leans into it. Once they understand what Medicare, how it works, and you help them see in the future how it could work out.
Yeah.
And the supplements are definitely worth the value. I mean, worth what you pay.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's my thought on it. Anyway,
yeah, that makes sense. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm just going to simplify it and say they pay for the product, and the value they get is obviously the protection and me. That's what they get. That's the value as their guide and their source of correct information. And that's what I would say.
Yeah.
To simplify it.
Yeah.
Yeah. How can you convey that value though?
I think it's done from the start, as far as letting them know that I care about them and I want to hear them out, and that it's important to me to make sure they were educated on what the product is I'm selling. How Medicare works hand in hand with the supplement or the Advantage plan, whatever it may be.
Mm.
I think just making it clear that I want to be really thorough with them, and I am asking them questions and getting to know them, and then getting to know me. I think it lets them know I'm serious and I know what I'm talking about for sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, these are all, very poignant points that we're making about the value of Medicare supplement. But when do you guys commit to giving them the Medicare Advantage plan? Meaning, when you're talking to a client, and let's just use an open enrollment candidate, like we always, and this is our mantra to talk about, we lead with Medicare supplement because it is the far superior product. Okay, we know that. But, we also want to do what is best for our clients,
Right.
And so when do you guys make a determination that, maybe the Medicare Advantage plan will work for this particular client?
So I guess my answer is the selector questions.
Okay.
Well, first I ask them, are they on Medicaid?
Mhm.
Because if they're on Medicaid, obviously they're
Yeah,
not
that
gonna
is
be able
a
to,
requirement. Yes.
yeah. If
Yeah.
they're on Medicaid, obviously they can't
Right.
afford a supplement.
Or
that's
it's
one thing.
illegal.
Right, right.
We don't want
So
to lose our license. Yeah.
right, so that's one of the questions I ask them right
Right.
from the get-go. So I know
Right.
kind of what their financial situation
Mhm.
is, and if they are on Medicaid, obviously we're gonna push them, guide them towards
Guide 'em
the
towards Advantage
the
plan, of
Advantage
course.
plan. But
Right.
if not, then hey, let's really dig into it, and we're gonna, grab your pen and paper, and we're gonna have a little info sesh here, learning session, and really dig into all the good stuff.
So then when you're determining what's best for your client and you're starting to hear clues, and I don't want to say red flags, but just, they're conveying what they really want.
Green flags could be green flags.
That's true. Yes. Yeah, that is correct. That is
Mhm.
Or a
correct.
checkered flag.
Or red, white, and blue flags because we're all in
There you go.
America and we're waving
Right.
our flag patriotically. No, but like when we're listening to them and it's like, okay, when I'm talking to a client, I'm listening to how they need a Medicare supplement. We always lead with that.
Mhm.
But if they're talking about cost, okay, like the price is always going to come up. What are some tactics that you guys do to help them overcome that fear of price?
Well, I talked to them I asked them, first of all, have you been shopping around? And if so, like what prices have you been coming across? I'll sometimes ask them, have you even thought about what's in your budget? Things like that. Like what research have you done to know if they even have even thought about how much it might cost? Things like that, just to feel them out.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's the same thing. I mean, usually the people, if you're having a good conversation, which at this point we already are usually, you've got some pretty good clues as to what's going on. But those are excellent questions to ask, have you thought about what's in your budget? And, of course, if they have Medicaid, then that's that on the supplement. However, some people are telling early on the conversation about wanting help with food or something. They've been hearing something on TV, and does Medicare do that? Or, they're asking
Right.
those kind of questions. And then it's, you're answering their questions, and it takes you right in, well, what you would need to find a plan like that. And then I ask them about Medicaid.
Mhm.
Have you even tried to qualify? Because sometimes I can help them get started on the Medicaid path when those are some of the questions they're asking me.
Yeah, or at least the extra help path.
Yes,
Because that's what
exactly.
I lean first. Because a lot of people, especially we're talking to, who are already hinting that they're having some financial difficulties.
Right.
I'm going to say, well, have you applied for the federal assistance program, the extra help program for your medications? If they are clueless, then you can send them the application. But what is important is that when you're talking to them about Medicare supplement and cost starts to come up, like we have to dig into value. We gotta have them understand that we got to build that urgency where it's like, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. This is a one-time thing where if you are unhealthy and you have a Medicare supplement, you're good. But if you take this Advantage plan and then you go wanting to get a supplement and you have a pre-existing condition, you can't get it.
Right.
So I'm curious because I've been battling. I don't know if you guys have calls like this before, but you ever had a call where it was somebody who's like, hi, I'm on an Advantage plan and I'm looking to get onto a Medicare supplement. I remember talking about a Medicare supplement, and now I'm ready to get on it now.
Yeah.
My Medicare Advantage plan has maxed me out, and I really don't like, my doctors are out of network. And
Well, why? You want to know why suddenly? Can they afford it now, or were they not able to afford it before?
Right.
the majority of those
What's
conversations
gone
are the
health-wise?
former, where it's like, I chose the Medicare Advantage plan thinking that I would be covered, but I didn't know that I had to adhere to a network.
Right.
I had to pay MOOPs, and it was a silly sentence, but I had all these pay as I go payments. I was, very rose-colored glasses with these because, one, my friends have them and they are great, but I didn't realize, because I had health issues, that I had to pay all these like subsequent bills.
Right. What are their health issues that are making them see the light now?
Yeah.
Right.
So those are some very, very tough conversations to have, especially during AEP, because now they're like, oh, I want to go to a supplement now. I've had my Advantage plan for a couple of years. I've not liked my Advantage plan, and now I hear about the supplement. And now all these, retrospective conversations, however unfortunate they are real.
Right.
So that's why I always want to go back to these conversations. And how do you guys, I'll ask you, Brent, how do you, especially for an open enrollment candidate, someone who's new to Medicare, who they are looking at Advantage plans, their friends have Advantage plans, what are some things to have them kind of see beyond the shadows? Like, hey, yes, they are appealing, but this is what we really want to look at to prevent those conversations later down the road.
Well, really, what I do is plant the seed. I explain exactly what Advantage plans are. I explain what the supplemental plan is. And most people, once I tell them that, hey, do you realize you're giving up your rights to your standard Medicare, and you're giving them to an insurance company who will determine what sort of medical coverage you're going to get? That sentence right there usually does it. Oh,
Good.
geez, I didn't realize that.
Right.
And I also say, as seniors, we don't like a lot of hassle. I let my wife call the cable company and everything because I will smash the phone. And that's what you're going to get. If you have to call the insurance company that you have an Advantage plan with, good luck trying to get a hold of them. You'll speak to somebody in the Philippines and you'll get bounced around. You'll never get the answers you want. In the meantime, the doctor wants his money and he's going to come to you. And you're kind of stuck in the middle trying to fight City Hall, getting all this worked out. Do you really want that hassle? Medicare supplement, everything goes to Medicare. Everything gets paid through crossover billing. You don't even have to mess with it.
Right.
No maximum limits. You can go everywhere. You don't have any networks to deal with. It's a high level of peace of mind.
Yeah.
And, especially somebody with medical conditions, I'll say, look, in your particular situation, I would never recommend an Advantage plan. Those are for people that are perfectly healthy, don't really need to use it. They have a low monthly premium, their doctor's in the network, life is good. But you get sick on an Advantage plan, you're subjected to whatever can happen there. I mean, you may not be able to get the coverage that you need, or at least they won't pay for it. And I've got so many third-party horror stories I can tell because I get a lot of them.
Right. I have as well. But
and that's the thing. And I can just say, I start spouting up some of these scenarios and they're like, oh my God, I don't want that. And I tell them too, I say, look, I've got a Plan G myself. If I thought Advantage plans were great, I'd have one too. Now, I also say, in certain areas of the country, they can work out fairly well. Florida has some good programs. If you live in one of these senior villages, you never leave the village. All the doctors take the Advantage plan. It can work out. All your friends have it. They say it's great. You're still going to have some out-of-pocket potential. Be prepared for that. And I'll give them the number scenario. I said, they're not standardized. You have to read your fine print.
Yeah.
Hawaii, Florida and Hawaii, you're on an island. All the doctors take the Advantage plan on the island, But for the most part of the country, especially rural areas, you might have to drive 100 miles to get a doctor in the network.
Yeah.
in their hospital? Do you travel? I mean, you know, you really have to question them on, you know, what they want to do. Because, you know, if they call Joe Namath and, you know, oh yeah, it's the same as the Plan F, it's just a zero premium, you know, I mean, all kinds of stuff.
Terrible.
It's kind of predatory, but
Yes.
that's how I usually deal with it. But some people, you know, decent people, sure, Advantage Plan all day long.
Right.
You know, but for the guy T65, things happen. Let's face it. You know, I've had so many clients test the waters, you know, oh, I got a year to go back. Yes. What happens, you know, 2 months in, Brad, can I get my supplemental plan back? I was in the hospital. I had to pay $300 a day and then blah, 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 blah. And, you know, we go through that whole, you know,
A dance.
dance,
Yeah.
for lack of a better term.
Right. Yeah.
And it's time consuming and, you know, but that's my take.
Yeah. One of the things that, oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, because something he said made me think about, you know, when we're trying to determine, is this gonna be an Advantage Plan person, not, you know, when we're talking about the clues that they give us and things. One of the things is all the doctors, if they already have several specialists, when they're turning 65, it's pretty unlikely you're gonna be able to find an Advantage Plan that has all of those doctors on the plan, on one plan.
Yeah.
So automatically it changes what kind of Advantage Plan they could get
Yeah.
if they still want to do it.
Yeah.
You know, and then, you know, you can always weigh out a supplement with the high deductible or something.
You
If
use
you
that a
need
lot.
to get it, you know,
Yeah.
closer, you know, that might be in their budget. So, but that's another bunch of questions that can help you determine.
Yeah. One thing that has helped me a lot is when I start out with the presentation, I always say, look, I am a licensed broker. So I have no skin in the game with any plan or carrier. The carriers work for me and I work for you. So anything that I offer you, it does not matter what I give you. So if I'm leaning more towards supplement and you hear cost, it's not because I get a bigger commission.
Right.
I get the commissions run throughout the company. You pay me nothing. So it does not matter if I offer you an Advantage Plan or if I offer you a supplement plan. It does not matter. When they hear that, they're like, okay, at least he knows that at least they know that I'm not trying to swindle them into a deal because there's a cost with it.
Right.
When I first started, I always had that problem. Like, yeah, let's do supplements. They're like, oh, why does it cost money? Why can't I just get an Advantage Plan? It doesn't cost anything. Are you trying to like bait and switch me? Yeah, it's like, no.
Right.
So I always over time, I've always learned before we do anything, I just let you know I work for you. I won't give you whatever you want, but I'm going to give you my recommendation on what I think is best for you. And so when I do that, they're like, all right, at least they're going to listen to the presentation. And the second thing is I say, look, I don't want you to think that I'm here to negatively besmirch Advantage Plans.
Right.
They're not bad. They're just different. And so based on what you are looking at, you said and those going back to your selector questions, but you want to go see your doctor whenever you want.
Yeah.
The 95% of all doctors take Medicare. Medicare is a non-managed care, which means there is no network. You just go. And okay, you take Medicare, great. That 5% window or that area is pretty much boutique carriers in very, very small areas. If you live in a normal area, you are going to have Medicare approved doctors and specialists. No problem there.
Well, my question is, what do you do for those clients that they're kind of in between, where they don't qualify they don't meet the threshold for the income for Medicaid, yet when you tell them the price, or you've already determined that a supplement really is what they want and what they're needing, and really what's best for them, but they balk at the price.
Mhm.
What do you do in that scenario?
Well, the presentation is always for Plan G, because Plan G, in their mind, they're like, okay, what does a supplement represent in my brain? When I go to the doctor, what am I going to be seeing? Okay, I'm going to be seeing 0 bills, no bills. I can go to any doctor. I always say the two most important things in my presentation, I tell them, the only thing you have to tell the difference between a supplement and an Advantage plan is two things. One is the flexibility. You can go wherever you want and whenever you want. Anytime, any doctor in the nation, and even internationally if you travel. The second thing is the predictability, which is you can predict what your bills are going to look like, which are going to be zero. You are going to need no bills. What do you mean no bills? You are going to be receiving no bills, no co-pays, no deductibles, no, 24-hour cancellation fees, any of that, none of that. The predictability is you will see no bills. The only thing you have to worry about is your budget, which is this premium that you're going to be paying for. So when I go over the presentation, I go over how much everything costs, and I say, okay, based on this, we know the plan G is the plan G, so the lowest plan G is going to be X company for this amount. Now, we don't know if you qualify for it. We got to see if you qualify first. We do that takeaway. So I go into it. If they're like, put on the brakes, buddy, like that price I cannot do. I cannot do. I say, okay, let me reiterate. Okay, just to let you know, this would be in your budget, and this is what you're going to be paying for. Now, based on your health, this would be a great consideration that it's going to be better for you. But let's just say they're like, look, I cannot afford a supplement. I say, okay, great. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to pivot from a G to a high G. Same concept. But we're swinging the pendulum. That's what I use this term. We're swinging the pendulum from high premium, low deductible to low premium, high deductible. And so when I tell them that, they're like, okay, they're able to shift. It's not a major shift, but it's like, okay, instead of me paying a high premium where there's no deductible or just the $233, they're like, okay, I pay $40 a month, but then I have a $2,700 deductible. And they're like, okay, I can do that because I'm not sick, So in any type of open enrollment presentation where they're going to qualify and they're going from group or they're going from an Advantage plan or whatever, they're qualifying, that's what I do. I always present G because like what we do here is the cost is the last worry. If we lead with price, we're going to fail with price. We always have to lead with value. Like I know what is going to happen in your life. I've done this for many years. You've done it for longer. We've all done it for an ample amount of time. We've seen everything. I've seen it out there, man. It's crazy, man. It's crazy, But it is a reality that they don't see it. So you always have to be steadfast and say, this is how Medicare works. I can obviously make the adjustments with price, but I cannot sacrifice value because I know that Advantage plans, if you're not a spitting image of health, then I will never recommend an Advantage plan unless we have to because of Medicaid or because of an area that is just profoundly ample with Advantage plans.
You could even do the cost comparison between a GHD and a local Advantage plan, and say worst case scenario you were to be diagnosed with cancer or have AFib and need some surgery or have a cardiac defibrillator implanted. You could go in and actually say this is what you would be out of pocket on an Advantage plan, and this is what it would be on a GHD, and you're still going to come out ahead.
Yeah,
in most areas.
You could show them the MOOP, and just say, look, you might have a $0 premium, but your maximum out of pocket is $10,000 because you have a PPO. You wanted to go see any doctor you want. Okay, you're going to pay $0, but something happens to you. You go to the hospital. That's $350 a day, buddy.
Right.
Oh, you got to go get You got to go get an MRI. That's $250.
If they agree to pay for
it. Right.
Right.
And that is $250 per MRI.
Yeah.
Last time I checked, they got to do a couple of them.
Usually.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then that's when they start thinking, they start getting a little more cautious. They're like, maybe I can do $40, and I can afford the $2,700 because you tell them like, look, if you can't afford $2,700, that's understandable. But you can afford $2,700 more than you can afford $10,000.
And they'll give you a payment plan.
Yeah.
They probably
Right,
bill
the
you for
hospital
months
will-
afterwards.
Yeah.
And then if you'll just figure out some kind of payment plan, they'll love you. You'll figure it out.
Yeah. And this is emergencies.
Yeah, not only that, most of these people are coming off a group plan at work.
Mhm.
Right.
And people attribute, insurance to how much money they're paying per month, which is obviously important. But what you really have to look at is the big picture. How much will it cost you if you, for instance, have a heart attack?
Mhm.
What does your plan do now? How much deductible you have? 6,000, 8,000, which can you go to any doctor you want to? So they hear this number, the monthly premium, and they automatically, I can get it cheaper than that.
Yeah.
I'm only paying, or whatever, but most of them are paying quite a bit per month if they have a group plan,
Yeah. You're right.
$500-600 a month. But
$1,200
yeah,
when they have the spouse on there.
yeah.
Right.
And then
$1,200.
exactly,
Yeah.
then you have a $6,000 or $8,000 deductible or something ridiculous.
Yeah.
And that's really what you have to look at. And
Yeah.
again, that's building the value.
Mhm.
It's the total value, and you paint the scenarios. Let's take a look at this. Let's say you have a heart attack or something like that. You can rack up $1 million bill very easily.
Mhm.
If you're having an extended hospital stay,
Right.
and they'll figure it out. You just have to lead them down the path and explain them what exactly is going to happen.
Yeah.
What's going to get covered. It's really an easy sell when you lay it out. It's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
And like you say, if they can't afford the monthly nut, you go high deductible.
Mhm.
And the other thing with high deductible plans, they very rarely go up.
Right.
They might have small increases.
Yeah.
Why? Because the people that buy those plans are healthy.
Yeah.
The risk pool
The risk
stays
pool's
clean.
very low.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
see these increases come around, high deductible, 0, where the other plans, 6, 8, 10%.
Excuse me.
So it makes a lot of sense.
And if they're that strapped for cash that even like a GHD is not doable, well then ask them, have you ever thought about applying for Medicaid?
Yeah.
You might qualify or even partial.
Yeah.
Because sometimes people's minds don't even go there. But if they still, for example, my own mother questioned me, how dare she? She's getting ready to go on Medicare in March. And so her open enrollment will begin October 1st.
Mhm.
And
No, this year?
yeah.
What's
then
her
this
phone
year-
number?
No? She's mine.
Oh,
Baby.
she's yours?
She's
Okay.
mine.
Oh, all right. I tried. Yeah.
I've already told her don't answer the phone for anybody but me. So anyways, because she's coming off of group and she pays, we figured as much as in premiums, as much as she's paying right now for her group premium per month, it would cost about the same to get a G and a drug plan
Mhm.
and a little dental vision hearing and then a Part B. And even she questioned me like, my gosh, I thought when you retired it was less. I was like, well, you don't even realize how much insurance costs. I bet your employer's paying several $100s for their portion right now. And it's cruddy, isn't it? And she said, yeah, the deductible's $5,000. Every time I see my doctor, it's $30-40. And I want to have some tests done soon. And, that's going to cost a few $100. And I'm like, do you see right there how you're already answering your own question? I don't know what false perception she had of seniors. Oh, I'm rewarded with this Medicare that's going to cost very, very little. I'm like, luckily we're starting soon and kind of bringing her out of the clouds and having her realize, look, this is really silly what it's going to cost, but it's going to be worth it.
Mhm.
You're going to have no worries if and when you get sick, and eventually something will happen.
Mhm.
So sometimes too, telling them, making them understand the price they're going to pay is having them realize really how much insurance costs and to find a way to budget for it. Hopefully if they do what they should do, which is, start reaching out 6 months ahead of time, they can, if they need some time to rearrange their budget, they can do that.
Yeah. I've also seen too that a lot of people that procrastinate on their health research.
Speaking of, I always thought when I was younger, that when I was an adult and I was that age, I thought, I'll have my stuff together when I'm older.
Yeah.
And I'll never procrastinate. I'll always do stuff on time. I'll just have this inherent urge in me to do what I need to do. Bull honky. It doesn't happen with these people.
Gets
Of all
worse.
people,
It
of
gets
all
worse.
people, when I started working in this industry, I'm like, wow, I guess I just expected better from these people. But
Yeah. Well, and
So,
you know what? And
no
what's
hope for
even
me.
more ironic is the people that absolutely need to do it are the ones that procrastinate the longest. Like
Yeah.
I've talked to those people. I mean, there's some people, you've probably had conversations like this, like kidney failure, cancer, that are coming on to Medicare. And they're like, yeah, I'll just transfer over to it. Like, because they would see the commercials and like, oh, it's an Advantage plan. And it's like, you got to be like, hold please. And then you put the phone down, you go scream your head off. You got to come back. Okay, I'm back. Let's talk. It's so flat. It's so like bewildering that these people are like, do you know how much you will pay for if you don't take care and this opportunity that you are about to pass up on? I can't sound so desperate, but it's like, it's so crazy how they're just so, I mean, I get it. They're like, oh, I got to deal with this, and I've seen a lot of people in that generation that are like put off just because it's like, I really hate dealing with this type of stuff. It's so confusing and I don't know who to trust. And I look at, my neighbor who's like running marathons at 65 and he's got an Advantage plan. And I have the common sense to say he probably doesn't worry about insurance. Meanwhile, I've got serious debilitating issues and I have to make this very important decision. I really don't know what to do. But you know what I am going to do? Worry about it tomorrow. And that's what happens. It's really
I
sad.
had one last week like
Yeah.
that. It's like, oh, I could not get him to understand. No, there's choices and you need to work with somebody right now to get this going. He hadn't even applied for Medicare.
Yeah.
And was supposed to start like in a week.
Mm-hmm.
Or people who have major health issues, and thank God they have open enrollment that they're going into. And, when you give them a price of a supplement, they just wrinkle their nose at it. I'm like, do you realize you have a condition that is going to cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars over the rest of your life, and paying 120 something bucks for a supplement a month is actually a godsend for you. You have to say it obviously in a way that they understand, and it's not, you're not
Right.
slapping them in the face so they snap back into reality.
Yeah.
But sometimes you have to be stern with those people and realize, look, the price you pay, the value, what you're getting for this supplement, it's monumental. You just don't even understand.
Yeah.
Right.
It allows you to budget.
Yeah.
Figure it out. So basically,
You
for
know,
me,
this
from
is what you're
figure
gonna
it
pay
out.
every month for your medical coverage, and you don't have to worry about anything else.
Yeah. And then the pitfall of people comparing themselves to super healthy people and saying, well, my neighbor who runs the marathons, he doesn't pay anything for his insurance. I want me with stage 3 kidney failure.
Yeah.
Why aren't you offering me anything like that? Because I care about you.
Right. I
That's
want you
why.
to live.
Right. Live, damn it. I
Yeah.
want you to live.
Well, as this conversation continues, I might change my mind,
Mhm.
but that's the whole point is that, look, I can give you an Advantage plan, but you will pay $10,000 a year if the company decides to pay. And I'll tell you what,
Yeah.
ESRD, that is one of the most controversial conditions when it comes to Advantage plans. They only just recently
Yeah.
in 2021 allowed ESRD or end-stage renal disease to be not a non-flag. What's the word I'm looking for? It's a pre-existing condition. Because before that, if you had end-stage renal disease, you could not get an Advantage plan.
Yeah, I
They only
remember.
changed that just recently. So that's like, imagine carriers. I mean, that is scary. I do not, I know how much those services cost. I know how much dialysis costs.
Oh yeah, quick story. Columbian Mutual, which was administered through Mutual of Omaha. I sold a guy in Florida. He was under 65, ESRD.
Mhm.
Really nice premium. 2 months later, Columbia Mutual no longer sold Medicare supplements.
Oh, wow.
I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this guy probably put in major bills.
Right?
Yeah.
And they went, oh.
Way too down.
First one sold, ESRD.
Yeah.
They love me, yeah. You feel bad sometimes.
Right.
You're sticking it to the insurance company, but hey, open enrollment, we can't
Right.
dispute that.
And they
Yeah.
decided to get into the insurance business. They decided to get into the Medicare business.
Right.
That's not on you.
Well, I think their purveyors are saying like, man, we have a chance to make money because, these healthy people and we just have to pay like the cost benefit analysis. And this guy comes along and
Yeah.
I mean, they're like these insurance
Always
companies.
Someone got fired.
Loss ratios.
Yeah.
Yeah. These insurance companies are
Yeah.
like everybody else. They're hedging their bets, and sometimes they win, and sometimes they lose.
yeah. Well, that's why it's important for us to talk about the importance of the carriers. You know, like I've had a couple calls where it's like, well, I have a local agent who has this very unknown Medicare supplement that I can get for like, I mean, I've seen like $25 less. You know, like Joe Schmo's Medicare supplement shop. And it's like, that sounds great, but let me explain to you very briefly what's going to happen. You know, like you're going to get it for $25, and then that's what's going to happen next year to cover the cost. You know,
Right.
they're going to have to compete. You know, that's why I like what we do is that we offer those major carriers because their risk pool and the rate increases are not going to be as significant as something like that. And plus, we get to watch it. You know,
Right. And help them if
yeah,
there's a need for, changing companies or whatever later.
yeah,
I think most people will be appreciative of that if you tell them that,
Mhm.
that this local company that's only been in the business, very short time, they're offering really low rates. They don't think about those things, what to beware of. And I think most people, that'll make them put that in
yeah. It's
perspective.
tricky too because when they get taught the standardization of supplements and then they see a Plan G with, Joe Schmo's shop, it's like, oh, this is great. I'm getting my Plan G for 25. I
Mhm.
won. I have the secret,
But
But
I think sometimes, and I'm not going to use the same saying that Jacob uses, but I'm going to say, let them see what's behind the curtain,
Mhm.
a little bit behind the scenes of, when they start pulling that. Well, you said they're all the same and this and that, and
Mhm.
Joe Schmo is charging $25 less. So what's the problem there? And it's just kind of lifting back that curtain and saying, look, this is what companies do from time to time. And I've been doing this a long time, and I've seen over the years what happens with these small companies. And that's why you want to go with a bigger, national insurance carrier and this and that, and
Mhm.
kind of letting them peek in and see stuff that normally they wouldn't need to know, or most people who are not agents, they wouldn't see,
Right.
to help them kind of gain some perspective onto why, yes, standardization does apply to this little company who just started out in your area
Right.
and they're cheaper. But, really I'm going to kind of give you a little bit of insider information
Mhm.
on what, the history is and the track record of companies like that and how they compare. And I think sometimes that helps overcome that objection.
Yeah. When you think about it, having a conversation with somebody who is new to Medicare, explaining to them how how Medicare works and how a Medicare supplement works, I mean, it is mind blowing. You know, I wouldn't know what you like if you're like, hey, let me tell you how Medicare works. You have A and B, and then you have a supplement. It's like, what? You mean there's no network? There's no this?
Right.
You're telling me there's this magical company that says, okay, you just pay this same amount as everybody other Plan G, and I don't have to pay any bills?
Mhm.
Like, you're a liar. That's why it's important for us to be like, do those checkpoints. Like, okay, what I'm about to tell you is how Medicare works. I'm not making this up. I'm not some crazy person that is going to just tell you, this is how it works. And then you check somewhere else and it's like, that guy's insane. Like, this is the story of Medicare. And this is how Medicare supplements work. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, you have to give yourself kudos to say, I'm explaining this to a person of how Medicare works. And I also have to get them to buy this because it's going to save their life.
Yeah.
And sometimes people who have come off group insurance, they put it off because they're overwhelmed. They don't understand it. They're afraid to start learning about it. And I'll tell people like that, it sucks. It does. I get it, because all of your working life, you've had your insurance rep at work, a lady she picks the insurance. She's the one that shops all the insurance. She knows about the insurance for your company. And then when it's time to pick insurance, she'll present everybody option A or B, and they're probably similar. Neither one is of any consequence to you because you're healthy and you're working. It doesn't matter, and it's cheap probably. And that's all you've had to do your whole life is pick A or B, and somebody else does the work for you. Now you are 65 and you are suddenly thrust out into the insurance world on your own with no preparation. To figure it all out on your own. I get it. They don't teach this stuff in school. They don't prep you at your job for what's coming. It sucks. I get it. But you have to buckle down, and we're going to make it simple for you so that you can get what you need. Because otherwise you don't even understand the exposure you have if you just do nothing.
Yeah. And you have to trust me.
Mm-hmm.
You have to trust me in a medium where there's a lot of people that you don't trust. You know, it's like there's that walking contradiction. It's like, hey, don't trust anybody on the phone except for me.
Right,
You know,
exactly.
except for me.
Right.
Says that in the Medicare guide.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Don't tell them anything. Don't give them any personal information. Don't give out your social security number. Don't give them any bank info.
Right.
We do it all day long.
It even says that when you call Medicare.
Oh, yeah.
You call Medicare and it's like, okay, we're going to get you someone on the phone. But before you do, have you never given this? You're not, and I remember one time I was waiting on the call with a client. We were calling Medicare to get a
Right.
number. And they're like, don't trust anybody on the phone.
Right.
It's like, I'm a anomaly. Yeah, I'm somebody different. You know what I mean?
How do you expect people to get anything done if they say just
Well,
don't?
you've experienced the massacre of people going on advantage plans,
Yeah.
of being bait and switched. That's how caustic it is out there. It's just absolutely horrendous. The mistrust and the manipulation of things that are going on out there.
Yeah.
Like we are like Mad Max Fury Fire. I don't even know what's the sequel, the good one. Mad Max world, you know, like it's just everybody's out there just trying to make a buck. And they're starting to see how easy it is to manipulate these people. And what's even sadder, how easy it is to get away with it.
Oh,
You know? That was what, I mean, you know, Brad and I have been looking, and I've been working with you on a couple clients, and you've been asking me questions, and you're like, at the end of the conversation we're having, you're like, how do they get away with this?
Right.
And it's like, I don't know. You know, it seems to be like there's no paper trail. There's no, you know,
No scope, no nothing.
Yeah.
It's like, how did you get this plan?
Yeah.
And Medicare doesn't care. Oh, yeah, you went through an agent? Okay, you're fine.
Yeah.
I mean, they can do a dispute and, you know, do an investigation and all that, but
Yeah.
in reality, the person that really is getting hurt is the client, you
Yeah.
know? Yeah, it's really predatory in my view.
Mhm.
So how do we, you know, convince the client to deal with us instead of somebody else? You know, how do you build that trust? That's the key factor, you know, and it's,
I come from a very Socratic way. Like I have to ask them questions so they can self-actualize. You know, so I say, okay, well, you know, I just go through, I don't have a checklist, but I just kind of like try and figure out what happened to them. And I ask questions and I say, did you talk to this type of person? Did they ask you these questions? Did you hint at some interest toward this? You know, and we could say like, maybe you said that sounds great. Even though you said you didn't want it, you just agreed to how great it was. They could turn that into, okay, well, and then I enroll you, you know? And I've had conversations like that and I feel so sorry for them because there's really nothing we could do. But it's like, they're like, oh yeah, I talked to this one person. Well, did you get the name? No. Did you get the company? No. Do you have a follow-up appointment or a number? No. Okay, well, what did you say? Well, they talked to me about these advantage plans. And I'm like, that sounds really good. And then I asked them, well, did you do a scope of appointment? What's that? Okay, then you didn't do that. Did you sign any contract, you know, that says that you're going to do this? Nope. Well, you know, you got to be more cautious, but unfortunately, something like this can be happening. So these people are like on edge talking to people like us. So that's how I build reports. Like I follow up with questions. I have them self-actualize. Okay, that's probably what happens. And I say, now here's how I can fix it. And then, you know, try and find the proper way to fix it because I am an ethical agent.
right. And telling them that that's the process they should have been going through. They should be going through when they're making changes.
Mhm.
They should be giving consent. They should be signing something electronically.
Yeah.
They should be allowed to ask any questions that they want or address anything that they want. And that's how it really should go. So if it doesn't go like that, it's not with somebody reputable. And you're always going to get that care and concern and for regulations and rules with me. And, you know, a lot of times that helps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's got to be this preemptive notion when you're talking to these people that there is going to be a problem. And when you go into that knowing that they're going to be extremely cautious for previous experience or vicarious experience, like you know that there's going to be some pushback. But what we do, and going back to script, is saying we got to make sure that every door is closed before we do anything. That's why value always precedes price. Price, and Frank does a really great job of this. It's like price, by the time I'm done, price shouldn't even matter. Price, that's what I try and do, is price should not be a concern right now. You know, you pay for your mortgage. I mean, these people probably already have their house paid for, but we pay for mortgages. We're not like, I don't want to pay for my mortgage. We just pay for a mortgage.
Right.
It sucks, you know, but we do it and we don't question it. That is what we do. I have to have them understand that your insurance, especially your age, has to be of the same mindset. You should be paying $300. You are dying, but you will pay $300, you know? And I'd say it doesn't have to be that expensive, but that should be your mindset when we're done with this presentation, that this $100 or $125 a month for your Medicare supplement is part of your bills. Because now you'll know that anything that happens to you, minor or major, you don't have to worry about that. You complain about the healthcare industry, you can contribute to it by paying for this, and now you are taken care of. Yeah, you know, cost is cost. It is what it is, right? It's like, what can you do? But
Right.
with that being said, you're going to be taken care of.
Yeah.
Especially to those people, that's a tough sell too, those people who are healthy.
Yeah.
Who feel like, well, they shouldn't be paying for, you know, as much as somebody who's unhealthy. And so that's a tough sell. So it's, you know, making them realize, look, yes, it's higher than you expect to pay, but it's for later on, because even though you're healthy now, the value is that this will be there for you with exactly what you said, which is to pay for everything. Because even though you're healthy now, eventually you will maybe either develop health issues or an accident will happen. You can't, you try to say, oh, I have good genes, you know, I exercise, I eat healthy. My family members, they live to 105 or whatever, and they, you know, they ride their bikes till the day before they die. But that's great. You know what? That's so wonderful. You're blessed with really great genes. You take care of yourself. You did everything right. I aspire to be like you.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But you cannot, good genes don't fix accidents.
Right.
You know, falling off your bike, breaking a hip, all those kinds of things. And it is so easy to rack up so much money in bills over surgery and physical therapy and this and that. That happens. That will happen at some point.
Yeah. We also have to tell them that this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. It's just the way that it's designed, but you can always go from a supplement to an advantage plan. You can, I don't say never, but I said the chances of you going from an advantage plan to a supplement plan are highly unlikely. And the reason that you want to go from an advantage plan to a supplement plan, I'm probably going to assume that it's because you don't want to pay any more bills because you're dealing with some health concerns and you don't like your advantage plan. And now you can't go back to a supplement because you have a pre-existing condition. Whether you went to the hospital, we got to wait, or now you have something on your health records that is going to preclude you from getting a supplement. And so those conversations, when you come up with this genuine tone and you say, it's not that I need a sale, it's that this is how Medicare works. And I've been doing it for long enough to where I'm tired of having conversations of explaining to people, I'm so sorry, but because you've been diagnosed with cancer, we have to wait 2 years or wait 3 years.
Right.
And that is if you don't get any additional complications with your health along the way, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, that's my job and I have these conversations, but I need you to realize that this conversation is being had because I am a Medicare wizard and I know that you are going to be having problems down the road.
Wizard.
Yeah.
I want a wizard.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want a wizard?
Yeah. I'm able to look into my crystal ball.
Wizard division.
And I'm going to, yeah.
Oh, he's moved to our wizard department.
Just call me Gandalf. I was coming in. I rub my beard as I talk to you.
But I think people
I
too,
see.
that's a good way to put it. And also it's, people who they're healthy and they can afford it, but they don't want to supplement. And they're just like, I'd rather just not pay for something and just have an advantage plan. I put it to them as in, you're gambling with your health and you're gambling. I said, you worked your whole life to have money for retirement. And it is so just in a split second, you could fall and have surgery and then you're wiped out your total savings because of something that goes on or some chronic condition that you've been diagnosed with. you worked so hard for your money. I would hate to see that all gone in one fell swoop. So
Mhm.
don't gamble on that. You
Yeah.
know, protect yourself. You're investing in yourself
Mhm.
is what it is. And you're protecting your nest egg and your
Yeah.
finances.
Yeah. You just got to put it to them. Like, what do you want to do?
Find their, what's the word?
Their pain point.
Pain point.
Yeah.
Right?
Like, what do you want to do? You know, you are a healthy guy. I get it. You know, you take care of yourself, but you said yourself that if anything were to happen, you don't want to be paying, you don't want to be getting bills. You know, you like getting bills? Like, I don't like getting bills. And if I had to pay if I get a $0 premium with the fear of getting bills if I have to go to the hospital, you know, I got my final bill for Brecken's seizure visit to the hospital.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
That was a while
That's
back.
wild. Yeah, it's the last one though, because he saw different people. So each
Right.
person has to send a separate bill,
Right.
you know? And luckily, you know, my ex, she had a decent healthcare coverage. We still have to pay,
Mhm.
Yeah.
you know?
Just because it's good doesn't mean there's zero.
Right,
You know?
exactly.
And then you get what you pay for. If you want, I don't want to pay anything. Well, then you're going to get exactly what you pay for.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you
The price is
expect?
what you pay. Yeah.
Right.
And
that saying is there for a reason.
Yep, exactly
Cheese
right.
in the rat trap's always free.
Yep.
Well, I'm
That's Jacob.
stealing that.
Jacob, if you're watching, we love the cheese and the rat trap's always free statement. That is a great statement.
Mhm. I'm stealing that.
Yeah.
For sure.
All right, so we got just a couple minutes left. Let's wrap up with here. You know, I like this quote because we're trying to separate price versus value. You know, we've looked at Advantage plans and we've kind of negatively talked about Advantage plans, and rightfully so. There are some issues with Advantage plans, but like, just to wrap up here, what are some things that we could take away from this conversation today that says, all right, the most important thing that we talk about with our clients is value? What are some things that we can instill in our clients that we know we've done everything we can to have them understand that the Medicare supplement route is going to be the best route for them?
Like I said, protecting themselves and their finances. You know.
So you lean with price.
Yeah, for the future, protecting their finances for the future and peace of mind. I want to say is, you know, you're paying more upfront for peace of mind, and mainly is what you're paying for,
Mm-hmm.
which is worth its weight in gold. You can sleep at night.
Yeah.
That anything happens, you can go to the best doctors. You can go to the biggest hospitals. You could have the most expensive treatments done, and they won't blink an eye at it. They're going to give you all the options. Whereas if you had either no insurance or you had like an Advantage plan, you can't go everywhere and you won't get the best treatment, and you're going to probably get maybe the lowest price option because doctors know what an Advantage plan will and won't pay for.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah, sadly, why should they even have to know?
Yeah.
Know that.
Right, but sometimes
they
you have to peel
know,
back the curtain for them
Right.
to see,
the
realize.
doctors have to know so
what
they
they're
don't
in
send them
for.
to the wrong places and things that aren't in network.
Yeah.
Or, you know, might not be the best place, but this is the one your plan will pay for, and
Yeah.
we don't want you to have to cover that, you know, so,
Yeah.
you know,
Like a Hail Mary.
necessity.
When somebody's
Yeah.
like, yeah, I don't want to, I'm healthy, I don't want to pay. Well, guess what, bud?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard to not be negative, you know? So what are some things, Penny, I'll ask you, how do you talk to them about value with the Medicare supplement without being negative about Advantage plans?
Well, again, it's the peace of mind part
Okay.
and budgeting and just having a set, and then your total out of pocket for the year will be this
Mm-hmm.
versus if you decide to go with plan Z, the Advantage plan, your total out of pocket will be, or could be up to this if the same occurrence happens on both of these plans. It'll be this much plus medication costs.
Mm-hmm.
And that's usually a pretty good eye opener right there.
And I say people, Advantage plans are good for some people
Mm-hmm.
in some situations and some states.
And if I thought that was the best fit for you, I would say that. And I know it sounds free, and I'm I like to give the example of family members. You know, my mother would love to pay nothing for insurance, but I'm not putting her in an Advantage plan because that's not the right fit for her. And a supplement is. So I'm guiding.
What are you
my
going to
own
give her a
mother.
G?
Mhm. Yeah.
Where does she live?
She's in Ron.
Okay.
She has a history of cancer in the family.
Yeah.
Her twin sisters had it twice,
Yeah.
so she knows.
Is she bulking? already, or
She's
she?
no, well, she's questioning.
Yeah.
She was questioning
Of
me in a
course.
loving way.
Mom.
Oh, well, I
Keep it a week
thought.
on this.
Yeah, right, no. No. It was like, well, why does it seem like it's going to cost as much as my current insurance? I'm like, well, let me tell you, but
Here's the
no
difference.
co-pays,
Yeah.
way lower deductible, and you can go to the best doctors and hospitals if anything
Yeah.
were to happen.
You live in a state that has the best cancer research facility in the nation.
Right. But she can't go there if she doesn't have.
Right.
Exactly.
I mean, if she ends up needing it, she can't go
That's
there.
what I tell people. I said people who are dying of cancer are flown out to MD Anderson.
Mhm.
When they have complications that their doctors can't do in their own facilities, they're like, you got to go to MD Anderson in Houston. And they don't take Advantage plans.
Yeah, and right now she has like a nodule that they're not too concerned about, and they're going to relook at it again here in a couple months, and on her thyroid. And I'm like, you know what, Mom, I really, I hope it's nothing. But guess what? If it is, you will have zero to worry about as far as the care that you can get, the level of care you can get. So, and that obviously put it all in perspective. And she's like,
Right.
Yeah.
And plus, you're going to watch her.
Right.
You have the accessibility to say, like, okay, once your rate goes up, well, I'm going to put you in a carrier that the rates are going to be significantly lower, and the rate increases are going to be significantly lower. And then we're going to continue to monitor it, that if it does get high, we can switch you over. I'm going to be watching it. Mom, you took care of me, and now I'm going to take care of you.
Exactly.
Let you take care.
I'm like, I got you,
Right.
Mom.
Right.
Baby girl got you.
Yeah. So any final thoughts on that, Brad?
Yeah, I think, we can build value very easily without slamming the competition by selector questions.
Yeah.
Let them decide, what do you want? What do you want to get out of this?
Mhm.
Most people tell me that they don't want their insurance company dictating on where they can go. Would you agree with that? Oh yeah, I don't want that. You can go down and, you can make up your own selector questions, but then they're giving you the criteria for order. You don't have to jam something down their throat that you don't even know they may not be concerned with, So, they're telling you how to sell them, in a nice way, without you just giving a bunch of spiel.
Yeah.
And it's hard to build value that way.
Yeah. No, I've asked selector questions to new open enrollment candidates. And sometimes all the answers are leaning toward Medicare Advantage, So it's like, it's going back to exactly what you said, Brad. It's like, okay, it sounds like you want an Advantage plan,
Well, it's just like an attorney. They ask those questions because they know what the answer is going to be.
Right.
So we need to know what the answer is going to be,
Right.
beforehand, before we get into it. You can lead people that way, with those questions, but building value, it comes down again, what's going on in their life, what's important to them, I mean, what are they concerned about? I know most seniors, they do not want hassle. We take care of all the heavy lifting here. That's why you came to us, because we're experts at this. We can get it done, and we know the people to call. You're not going to have to lift a finger other than, signing the app. That's it.
And paying the bill.
Yeah. And we're going to keep an eye on things for you.
Yeah.
We have to sell the agency, the agent, cap. We have to go through all that stuff too. Let them know we're going to be there for them. We're a little bit unique in that respect. We're going to actually keep an eye on your rates and everything. And if they start to go up, we're going to call you and make sure you're not, spending too much. Not very many people do that in this industry, if at all.
No, they don't.
And we'll be there for you if you have any questions or concerns, and that's what people are looking for. Really, they want themselves to just rest and know that they have the right person on the phone that's going to take care of them. And because I've had people, it's like, Brad, whatever you tell me, that's just set me up.
Yeah.
I trust you. You just give me the best thing,
Right.
You're
like, okay.
and
Yeah.
it's like, okay, this is it.
Yeah.
And that's where you want to get to where, they don't know. They can write stuff down and everything. They don't want to be experts at this. That's why they're calling us.
You want a guy.
Yeah, they want a guide.
Yeah.
And nobody wants, like, I've got a car insurance policy. I know vaguely what's on it. I have really, if something happens to me, I've got to go back and look at it or call them and say, you know, how much coverage I have and whatever, you know, and it's not the type of thing you look at, you know, everything's in the policy. Where's the policy
Just know
go?
what your deductible
Either
is.
throw it out,
Yeah.
it's in a drawer somewhere. Oh, I lost your number. Well, you know, that's in your policy. Oh yeah, I don't know where that is.
Yeah.
You know, so it's important that we do contact our clients, which we do.
Right.
And, you know, but, and that's part of the value, you know, you get me,
Yeah.
you know, that's a free thing, you know, that's what part of what you're paying for is me, you know, and, that's a huge value, have somebody looking after you with your affairs like that, you know,
Very important.
so.
That is a great place to end. So price versus value, great conversation, guys. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. I will look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow, and have a wonderful afternoon. And Grip is signing out. Thanks, guys.